Hello, myself Dr. Dinesh Pandey. Welcome to my channel Digital Forensics for Beginners. In this video, which is titled as Ransomware, we'll discuss the basic concepts about the ransomware, what is the prevention and the detection mechanism of the ransomware, and how the ransomware attack actually happens. So that things is going to be discussed in this particular video. Apart from that, how this particular what is if the digital forensic investigator has to identify the traces of the ransomware, so what are the prospective location of that ransomware, so from where it can be detected by the digital forensic investigator. So those things are going to be covered in this particular video. So to begin with, we discuss about what is the ransomware. Ransomware is a kind of a malicious software or the malware, and this particular malware, whenever it had attacked or intruded into a particular computer system, it locks the information on that computer system and encrypts it. So the purpose of this particular ransomware is to get the ransom from the owner of that information on the computer system. So once the particular ransom have been received by the remote handler of that particular ransomware, then the key that is used to encrypt the information of that is available onto your computer storage. So that key is handed over to the owner of the information, owner of that particular information on the computer system. So this, and also it unlocks that particular information. So that is what the ransomware does. And the first incident of the ransomware had occurred in the year 1989. And the latest incident of the ransomware that had occurred, it was in the year just in the 2022 in India, that Oil India Corporation Limited in Assam state of India was being attacked by the ransomware. So now there are many thousands of variants of the ransomware are there in this that have been developed by the developer of the ransomware. So the next topic, that means the next is about what are the various example of the particular ransomware are. So that will cover. There are more than 1,000 ransomware that have been developed so far by the developer of the ransomware. And now we'll see what are the various some of the ransomware and the way techniques of infecting a particular targeted computer system. So the first ransomware that we'll see is a WannaCry ransomware. So this particular ransomware, that is WannaCry, it takes the advantage of the vulnerability of the Windows SMB protocol in order to infect that particular system, computer system, or the targeted system. And it uses the self-propagation technique in order to infect the particular computer system in its neighborhood. That means if what are the computers which are in the network of the infected computer system, so those computer systems are also going to be infected by using the WannaCry because it uses the self-propagation technique. The next the particular ransomware is a server ransomware. So this particular server ransomware, it runs silently. That means it encrypts the files onto your computer system silently, and then it prevents, that means the antivirus and the security mechanism or the security features which are available on the Windows computer system from being run. And so that the particular that means Windows or the particular user of that particular computer system should not be able to make a backup of the particular data. So that's why it prevents any other features, security features on the Windows system from being run, from being executed. So that is how it works. And this particular server ransomware, whenever it has collected the loot from the owner of the particular computer system, which information is encrypted by the ransomware, it's distribute the particular loot among the other ransomware developers. So that kind of the things is being done by the particular server ransomware handler. The next ransomware is we'll discuss is about the Locky. So this particular Locky ransomware, it can infect more than 160 different file types, and it uses the exploit kits in order to infect the particular computer system. The phishing email also are being used in order to infect the particular the computer system. So that is being the technique that have been used by the Locky. And another is a CryptoLocker ransomware. So this particular ransomware, that is CryptoLocker, it was developed in the year 2017, and so far it has infected more than 500,000 computers throughout the world. It also uses the email facility in order to infect the computer systems or targeted system. Then also it uses the file sharing sites, whichever being used by the user in order to share their files. So that also being used by this particular CryptoLocker to encrypt the particular computer system. And also the downloads, whichever have been performed by the developer. So that also being used to infect the computer system by this ransomware. Then next is a PETA and no PETA. So this PETA ransomware, it encrypts the entire hard drive. So in order to encrypt the entire hard drive, it makes use of the master file table. So by using the master file table, it entirely encrypts the particular entire hard disk on your computer system. The no PETA, this particular ransomware, it makes use of the backdoor facility available in an accounting software in order to infect a particular computer system. Ryuk is another kind of a ransomware, and this ransomware make use of the phishing email, okay, so which have been used in order to infect a particular computer system. And also the drive-by download, that means the particular user is downloading certain files from the remote location, so that is also being used in order to, that means with the downloaded file the ransomware gets attached, and whenever the downloaded file is executed onto your computer system, the ransomware also starts executing. So that is one of the kind of a technique that is being used by the rogue in order to infect the computer system. Then the Grand Grub is another kind of a example of a ransomware. This ransomware, that is a Grand Grub, it infects a particular computer system, means encrypt the files onto your computer system. Now the kind of a threat that have been given by the Grand Grub is that means making it public the kind of a porn watching habits of the particular owner of a computer. So that the particular ransomware, that means the owner of the particular computer system, whose file is encrypted by the ransomware, he is required to pay the ransom. So in order to do so, that means the ransomware, like a Grand Grub, gives the threat to the particular user. So that means certainly it is going to watch the kind of sites which have been visited by the particular user of a computer. And based on that, it identifies which are the porn related sites, and according to that it gives the threat. So these are some of the ransomware example which are available, that means which are there in this, which have been developed by the developers of the ransomware. Now we'll see what are the various ransomware distribution techniques that have been used by the ransomware developers or the people who wants to make use of the ransomware in order to take some ransom from the targeted computers users. So the first technique that is used by these peoples are the phishing email. In the phishing email, some kind of the mail is sent to the particular the user of a computer or who is having some email account. So whenever the user log into his email account, he will get some kind of he will be able to see some kind of a email, and that email may have some malicious website link, and also other maybe some kind of a malicious hypertext. So whenever the particular the user clicks, the user of the email service provider clicks on that link or on the hypertext, is directed to some kind of a malicious website, and that means the particular user is lured in order to download some kind of a file from that particular malicious website, and that particular downloads may going to have some ransomware. So along with the particular file, maybe if it is suppose someone may consider it as genuine, but the ransomware may be attached to that particular downloaded file. So that is one way of a particular distribution that means how to do the distribution of the ransomware. Then is the email attachment. So this the ransomware, that means the people who wants to take the ransom from the people, they send some email, and that email is having some malicious downloads attached already. That means some file is already attached to that particular email, and whenever the user of that email service provider downloads that file, it is going to have some ransomware attached to that particular file, or that particular attachment itself may be a ransomware. The ransomware will start executing on that particular computer system. That is one way. Another is about the social media. So social medias are, such as various social medias are available. The people with the malicious purpose, malicious intention, they used to post some malicious link on some social websites. And certainly if there are many people who used to watch those particular social website, that means information, and some user by mistake suppose click on that particular the link is directed to some website, malicious website, from where is that means lured in order to download certain things onto his system. So if he gets downloaded, it may be the case that that particular downloads maybe itself is a ransomware, or maybe some file which have some ransomware attached to that. So that way the ransomware is going to infect that computer system. Is another technique is about the malvertising. That means making some malicious advertisement. Now you might be aware of there are so many web pages are there which are having some advertisement running on those particular web pages. Suppose some of the particular advertisement is infected with the malicious attachment like a ransomware. So certainly automatically that ransomware is going to be executed onto your computer system, and it will infect that system. Then another distribution technique is by the self-propagation. Okay, so some of the malicious the ransomware, if they have been downloaded and they have infected a particular computer system, they are going to infect the neighbor computer system which are part of a networks. So that is one of way of distribution. Then another is downloading some infected files already. So there may be some infected files may be there, and you are downloading those infected programs or the files from the servers, or maybe from some another site. So in that case, certainly your computer system is going to get infected with that ransomware. So these are the various techniques which have been used by the ransomware, that means the people who wants to make use of the ransomware in order to take the ransom from the people. Now we'll see how the malware, that is ransomware, works actually. The ransomware, it is that means the first stage of working of the particular ransomware is the infection. So once the ransomware is covertly downloaded and installed onto your computer system, it is doing that means the infection stage have reached on that particular malware or the ransomware. Second stage of the working is the execution. So here the ransomware searches for the particular files, or the particular files which are required to be infected on the local drive. Also it also identifies the files which are required to be infected on the network drives. So that happens in case of the execution stage. And the third stage is about the encryption. So in this particular stage, the particular ransomware actually encrypts the files. So whatever the files that have been searched that are to be infected in the earlier stage, that is the particular execution, the actual encryption happens in the third stage, as encryption. And for that purpose, it exchanges the key with the command and control server of the particular ransomware. So certainly the ransomware is going to be handled from some of the remote server. Okay, and it exchanges what are the keys are used to be used in order to encrypt that information or the particular files onto the computer system. Then the next stage is about giving the user notification. So in this particular stage, the ransomware creates the nodes, that means some notification to the user or asking for some ransom. So So that happens, and it gives that some amount of money to be paid as a ransom in order to get the key, in order to so that the user can decrypt that information. So that happens in the user notification. Next stage is about the cleanup. Since the ransomware delete itself, so what are the executable files of the ransomware are there on that system, so that is being deleted by the ransomware, so to avoid the traces of its existence on that system. So only but it maintains the files for getting the ransom from the particular user of that computer. Next is once the payment. So suppose the user wants to pay the ransom to this handler of the ransomware. So in that case, this stage is going to be reached. Here in this, the user clicks on the link to pay the ransom, and the amount is to be transferred. The amount will get transferred, whatever will be handled, by using the transfer mechanism. The payment transfer mechanism will be used. And once the payment have been received by its handler, then the particular the ransomware, that means the person who was remotely handling the ransomware, he returns back the key to decrypt that particular information. That is going to be the decryption stage. So a particular ransomware works in these different stages. Now we'll see what are the prevention and the protection mechanism against the ransomware attack. The first thing, a kind of a protection mechanism that any organization or the individual should have is the antivirus software installed onto their computer system. So this antivirus software, that means they can identify the particular malicious software running onto their computer system based on their signature. So this signature database, if it is updated regularly by the developer of the antivirus software, then if they had added the latest signature of the ransomware into their signature database, then certainly the antivirus software can detect the ransomware. But in the worst case, it may happen that the signature of the ransomware may not be updated to the antivirus signature database. In that case, the ransomware may not be detected by the antivirus software. The next thing is required to be done by an organization with the sensitive data or the important data is to maintain a backup of that data. So whatever the data that is available on the storage of the computer system or of the server, so that is required to be backed up. So that means that information is required to be maintained or to be backed up onto some external storage, so that if the attack happened, the ransomware attack had occurred onto the system, and that the backup information can be used to restore that information. So that can be done by an organization or even by an individual with the sensitive information on their computer. The next thing is about maintaining the patch management. So if there are something loopholes or the vulnerability have been identified in the software or in an operating system, so it can be that means the developer of that software or the operating system, they provide the patch, so that later on that particular vulnerability should not be used by the malicious software to attack that system. So certainly the organization or an individual are required to do the patch management, so that they are required to update the particular software or they are required to add the new patch to their software. So this thing is required to be done. Then maintaining the whitelist, application whitelist. So what are the applications which are going to be executed on that particular system? A list of those applications are required to be maintained by the particular organization or even by an individual, so that it will suppose some unknown application have been identified executing on that system, so that application can be easily identified. So that can be done if you are maintaining some list of those programs. The next thing is providing the training to the particular people who are working in an organization. So email training, that means how to make use of the email service securely. So a training is required to be provided to the various user of the email, so that if the spam mails, how to handle the spam mail, or how to identify or recognize a particular spam mail. And whenever those kinds of unknown mails, that means mail are coming from some unknown sender, so certainly the kind of information should be provided to the users of the computers that they should not open that particular email, or they should not click on any of the link on that particular email. So that kind of information or the training is needed to be provided to the individuals there working in an organization, and maintaining the firewall, having a particular firewall so that the unwanted packets which are coming, so they are required to be filtered out. So that thing is software, the firewall software is needed to be provided, required to be implemented in an organization, because suppose the malicious ransomware so software is coming, so suddenly it is coming from some packets, and that packets is going to have some IP address. So based on the firewall can filter out the particular packets coming from some IP address. So if that means if a particular IP address is blacklisted, then the firewall is going to filter out those particular packets coming from those blacklisted IP address. Another thing is having the intrusion detection system. So organization is all the time is needed to maintain some kind of a intrusion detection system, so that if a particular system have been attacked by some that means intrusion have occurred onto a computer system or in a network, so certainly it should be easily identified. So those things are required to be implemented in an organization to prevent and protect from the ransomware attack. The next thing that we'll see is about how to detect the ransomware and what are the approaches that can be implemented to detect the ransomware attack, so that had occurred on a computer system. The first thing is about doing a real-time alerting and blocking. So the particular ransomware is having a particular read and the write mechanism. So if that particular mechanism, that means if is the kind of behavior that have been observed on a computer system, so if that behavior is being recorded, that means have been identified, then the alert, real-time alert can be given, okay, about the ransomware presence onto a computer system. So that can be done. Second is about the deception-based detection. Deception means what? Normally the ransomware generally they used to find out the hidden files. They used to go after some hidden files in order to encrypt those particular the hidden files. So this the particular in the deception-based technique, some files are hidden, and if the ransomware had attacked onto your computer system, then this ransomware will try to attack that hidden file, which is of no use for the owner of that particular computer. And in that case, if some activity have been identified on the hidden file, certainly the ransomware presence can be easily detected. Next thing is one particular organization should do is to maintain a granular reporting. So whatever the activity happens onto a computer system or in a network, so audit trail of that particular activity is needed to be maintained. So like what are the network packets, that means related information about the incomings and the outgoing network packets, the event logs, okay, and also the volatile memory dump. So those kinds of informations are required to be maintained. A backup of that information is all the time is maintained, so that whenever suppose attack had occurred, so the digital forensic investigator can easily identify the ransomware, and that means he will be able to identify was the handler of the ransomware. Okay, so that can be possible by having the event, that means audit trail of the particular activity that had occurred in a organization computer or in a network. All what are the computers are there in a network, so we can maintain the logs of the network related activities, maybe on the routers, through the routers, so that kind of information can be maintained. So in that case, the network packets are required to be dumped, and the network packets certainly, if you are dumping by minute or by hourly basis, so certainly it is going to take lots of space. Same way, if you are doing the volatile memory analysis, that means RAM, if you are dumping, maybe, so certainly it is going to take more amount of storage. So it has to be up to the management. So how much that means in what duration they are going to take the dump of the network packets or also of the volatile memory. And about the event logs, so the Windows operating system, it maintains the event logs. So those can be easily copied and saved onto some external storage for later purposes. The next thing that that means is about the digital forensic investigation, how it can be performed in order to detect that means in order to identify and that means extract and analyze the digital evidence against the ransomware. So for that purpose, the digital forensic investigator has to focus on the three evidence sources. The first is about the network packets. So second is about the event logs, and the third is the volatile memory. So these can be the source of evidence in order to identify the presence of the ransomware, also to know about the handler of the ransomware. So the network packets just now I discussed is about that network packets are required to be dumped. So certain tools like a Wireshark can be used in order to dump the network packets, incoming and outgoing packets. So from there, the digital forensic investigator can get the IP address of the particular handler. So that can be possible. So certainly the organization has to decide when they has to take the dump. Okay, if they are taking hourly basis or maybe after 2 hours, 4 hours, so like that they have to decide, because it is going to create a lots amount of information. But certainly if having that means some important data, then in that case if you are having important data onto your computer system, certainly then the space constraint or the storage constraint should not be the concern for the particular organization. In that case, they should take regularly the dump of the network packets, or they should capture the network packets, so that if the attack had occurred actually onto the system, they should be able to trace the source of the attack. So that is required. The next thing is about the event logs. So the operating system like Windows, it maintains the event logs. So from there also, whatever the activity that have occurred onto your computer system, so it can also be easily detected by the digital forensic investigator going through that particular event logs. So that also is one of the important vital source of evidence for the digital forensic investigator. And the next thing is about the volatile memory analysis. The RAM or the main memory of your computer system is required to be regularly dumped, so that if the ransomware is running onto your computer system, so the digital forensic investigator can identify the executable process, that means the particular program that is running onto that computer system. So for that purpose, the regular volatile memory dump is also required, but also it is also going to create the space problem, storage problem, because if you are having a RAM of 8 GB or like that, so certainly it is going to consume more space. So it is up to the digital that means organization how much that means when they have to take the particular dump of the volatile memory. So these are the main source of evidences from where the digital forensic investigator can get the evidences, and which can be used to identify the source of the attack of the ransomware. So if you like this particular video on the ransomware, do click on the subscribe button in order to get the notification of the future videos on the digital forensics domain. Thank you.